Welcome to another vodcast episode of Don't Worry About the Government. I'm Ronnie Weiss. With me today is the Mortal Kombat champion of never, Dingus Mingus.
Fatality.
Very good.
Flawless victory.
No, I was just going to say that victory was anything but flawless.
No, that was a flawless victory,
Can you do a babality for me?
Animality. I turn into a giant fox.
So today's news is Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, who in prior days and weeks would have been considered a potential VP candidate, and these days apparently isn't.
And apparently not even being asked. I was going to say how much of that's a smokescreen, but then we have this
also there's all the Obama thing, whatever, but that's not even the story. The story is Marco Rubio says he would come to the U.S. illegally if he had to. And it just shows a pretty realistic explanation as to why there is illegal immigration without jingoism. It's very normal and makes sense, except Marco Rubio, you got put into power by the Tea Party. Not brilliant. Chris?
No. If you're a Republican, this is not a good argument. This is a fine argument if you're a Democrat in a district that's going to be forgiving. As a Republican, especially looking at national office, saying that you would violate national law on any level, if you had to, it's not a good
and that's
move.
What's ridiculous, too. It's funny you say that. I didn't even think of that angle. How did this then apply to drug policy, all the issues with the black community of how it's an underserved community and all the sorts of decisions that they make based on that? This is problematic.
Let me throw this out here. If he couldn't feed his family, would he sell drugs?
There you go. Would he sell pot?
Where does this end? Yeah, where does this end? Is it pot? What if you couldn't get any pot and you still really had to feed your family? Would you sell coke and acid then?
We're getting into slippery slope. But this just
goes
to show
once you open up that door, and you don't have to.
This is the problem with Republicans, that they can't sound realistic. They can't show any shred of empathy, right? What was it, Gingrich during the debates? Who was more, what was his thing? Because I know he was more lenient on immigration.
Rick Perry got maligned too. Rick Perry actually got maligned, and he sort of said you're heartless.
That's who it was. It was Rick Perry. Yeah. It was about having a heart. Right. That's who it was. It was about having a heart. You can't say anything that sounds remotely like anything other than the pure punitive if you want to be considered there. But how long can that last? You will only appeal to this base.
I think that's true to an extent, but on a much broader political level, I think that this is a bad approach, regardless of your political stripes. Saying you would break the law if you had to, running for national office as a national politician, that's just not a good strategy. Yeah. I see what you're saying, and I definitely see what you're saying about the discourse.
While that's an interesting direction, I think the question to me is then, what does this demonstrate about where the Republicans are or have to be in 2012 and going forward?
I think it speaks to the fact that they have problems, but I don't know that this is as big of an issue because the Republicans have disenfranchised Latinos so much as this is just a faux pas in general. A politician.
So you think that this is making too much of it? You think this was just a bad move and it doesn't show how the Republicans? Why was Marco Rubio considered to begin with?
I'm not saying it doesn't do that. I'm just saying that the reason that this is bad is because of that, and on a greater level, because of this fact that as a politician, you just can't say you'd break the law if you had to feed your family.
All right, so let's go to somebody else who might not be a vice presidential candidate either. Christie. You found this.
Yeah, okay, so this is on the Daily Beast, and it's this long profile piece that talks about Christie, thinking about running for president, deciding that he wasn't going to run for president. And now there's an article that said, Christie to Romney, call me Mitt. And he wants to be vice president. However, in the past, he has said emphatically and repeatedly and pretty definitively that he wouldn't be the right person to be the vice president. He doesn't have the right temperament to be the vice president. He doesn't really think of himself as a vice president.
Which is an odd thing when you look at the vice presidency.
Christie, I think, he would be so much more big than Mitt Romney.
Wow.
Well, no, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying his personality is just a much larger.
No, definitely. Romney couldn't even make a statement on whether he would repeal Obama's latest decision on immigration. It's stunning. No, you're right. You're right. Christie has opinions. Christie has opinions. How do you balance that out? A presidential candidate that cannot answer a question worth a damn refuses to. Not he can't answer a question. That's Rick Perry. Romney refuses to, and maybe he can't also because he doesn't actually have an opinion.
I think with the immigration thing, he's scared. I think he fully understands the perils and pitfalls of doing anything, but doesn't fully appreciate that doing nothing is doing something, and that's just it's disastrous.
Saying nothing in this case.
Saying nothing is doing something.
Nothing in terms of immigration. We've been doing that to an extent for years now. But when it's coming to a head, when it's an issue with Latino voters, and everybody talks about the demographics. What's interesting, too, funny enough, is did you see the headline today? Asian immigrants now surpass Latino voters. Or not Latino voters, Latinos. There are more Asian immigrants now for the first time than there are Hispanic immigrants. How did that blindside me?
I don't know. I need to tease that down further. I saw the headline. I saw that we posted it, and I haven't gotten to read deeper into the internals on that.
It's at least a headline. They're at least saying it. So why have they focused so much on Latinos? Is it because every Latino voter, whether you're from El Salvador, or Mexico, Puerto Rico, they all have the same sense of things? I find that odd, and yet Asia gets lumped in together. This is the problem with these racial breakdowns.
Look at the term. Yeah, I was going to say, look at the term Latino. It becomes a catch-all for everyone from all these different countries, and yet generally when you speak to someone, I'm going to have to use the term Latino, they generally don't say they're Latino. They say they're from the specific country. They say they're El Salvadorian or Venezuelan. They don't identify as just like a race that we arbitrarily assign.
Which is funny to me because I actually was thinking of this yesterday, and that's exactly why I've swung around on the term African American. Because nobody who is Nigerian American, Cameroonian American, whatever else would ever call themselves that. And what do you call yourself if you are a black American? Because black also is a weird term too. So I actually, in the past couple of days, have come around to an extent with the African American thing.
So are you pro-African American now, or do you think
the term? You mean? I am more in favor of it than I used to be, because it's like, what do you call somebody who is an American, who is black, who is a descendant from mostly African slaves with a mix? It becomes such a thing where it and then on the other end, we do these terms, and what do they mean in the end, and who identifies that way anyway? People, I would think at a certain point, I would hope, are just Americans and then deal with it accordingly in a personal conversation or in a biography. Trying to put yourself in that little term, I think, doesn't really tell you anything except if it's polling.
Yeah, race is confusing. I don't know.
Indeed.
I remember coming in here with the Christie stuff, so I don't. And we have to run tight on these too, so I don't want to. Hey, how are we doing?
This is what it is, and this is what we do. You can find more about what we do over at don'tworry.tv and at facebook.com/DWATG. If you have any comments, comment. Let us know what you think. If you'd like a specific topic for us to talk about, let us know. That's all I've got.
If you'd like to
see me,
dingus. If you'd like to see me rip a heart out of a chest, you can go up, start. If you would like to see me take off my mask and then blow fire on people, you can do that too. I also do the shadow kick. And you can find me on Twitter at Chris Novembrino, ChrisNovembrino.
Our health just has run out. Peace.